Turn on the Lights event hosted by the Lorenzo's House Young Professionals Board. My name is Becca Shula, tuning in from Dallas, Texas, and a Young Professionals Board member. I'm honored to serve tonight as your MC. We are so grateful that you've joined us on this special evening to collective vision to create Lorenzo's House chapters everywhere. We will be inspired by personal stories from members of the Young Professionals Board, our vision to connect, inform, and bring light to families with younger onset dementia. We encourage you to ask questions and leave comments in the chat feature throughout the evening. The Lorenzo's House team, Amber and Marie, will be happy for any questions you may have in the chat. Please take a moment to type in where you're tuning in from. And if you haven't already done so, please head over to our Instagram page at Lorenzo's House and give us a follow. If you do post any photos this evening, we'd love it if you tag us and use hashtag WeBringLight and Lorenzo's YoPros. I'm gonna take a quick moment. Where is everybody at? Jersey City, Maryland, Chicago, Baltimore, Sacramento. Welcome, welcome. We're so grateful you guys have joined us this evening. North Carolina. Wonderful. I love it. Okay. So you are now going to hear from the Lorenzo's House founder, Diana Coates. Welcome, Diana. We're so grateful you've joined us this evening.
Thank you, Becca. Hi, everybody. Hey, young professionals. I just really wanted to open and show gratitude tonight. I want you to understand, hopefully through this screen, how incredibly grateful I am that you have made tonight a priority, that you have made Lorenzo's House mission a priority, and that you have embraced what we are doing to empower families living with younger onset dementia. You know, this is my first kind of step back into interfacing with everything we're doing at Lorenzo's House. So thank you for welcoming me with love. Ever since my beautiful man passed 3 months ago yesterday. I believe in miracles, and where there is love, there are miracles. And the Young Professional Board at Lorenzo's House is a miracle. Like when we think about just a year ago, less than 2 years ago, Lorenzo's House was an idea. A year ago, we started thinking about young professionals bringing light to this space. There has been so much energy and time and thought and strategy and reworking that has gone into the building of the Young Professionals Board at Lorenzo's House. It just didn't happen. It was like there was a lot of stirring and baking it with love. And here we are now in November saying we've got it right. We've got a foundation. We're founding young professionals of this board. Now, how do we build out a model where we build more chapters, right? Where we take this idea and build chapters everywhere until a cure is found. So I am so grateful because everyone is doing this. You're miracle makers, and we're doing this because we are a group that is unseen. We're misunderstood. We're under-resourced. And together, collectively, we can do so much in this space. So I am so grateful with your busy lives, incredibly busy lives, that you are choosing to say Lorenzo's House matters, our vision matters, our mission matters, and it is your brilliance that is going to push forward what we're doing by connecting families and curing that isolation, and by providing resources so that we can bring this hope, and by crushing the stigma so that we can bring this understanding and empowerment. So I'm so incredibly grateful for you all. So many of you I've met, so many of you I have not yet met, and I can't wait. And there's this beautiful quote that I love to bring up by Margaret Mead, which is, never doubt that a group of like-minded people, a small group, even a small group of like-minded people can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. And that is what we're doing at Lorenzo's House, and we're doing it through the lens of We Bring Light. And so you're all miracle makers, and I'm grateful. And I'm just gonna sit back and absorb all the crazy love. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Diana, for joining us tonight. We're so grateful, and that we wouldn't be here without you. So just sending you all the love. Now we have a short slideshow to show you all. This is our first formal gathering since Lorenzo's passing, and he was the inspiration behind Lorenzo's house. We wanted to take a moment to honor him and all the beauty and good he left behind. Lorenzo, or Larry Coast, modeled many qualities: his humility, sincere way of listening, gentle wisdom, unwavering courage, and all with a smile that could heal the world. Larry was a beloved husband, devoted father to his 2 sons, and an infinitely kind and compassionate friend to those fortunate enough to know him. He was a highly respected Chicago journalist, businessman, and financial advisor. What brought him the most joy and purpose, though, was his wife, Diana, and 2 sons, Justin and Lucas. We take a moment tonight to honor his legacy as it now lives on through his family and through Lorenzo's house. When Lorenzo was diagnosed with younger onset Alzheimer's in 2017, Diana and her sons, who were 14 and 11 at the time, were Lorenzo's primary caregivers. They were left with little to no support or resources for families given this diagnosis. She began to imagine a place where her family could breathe, heal, and be understood by others in a similar circumstance, and a place where she trusted in the care being given to her husband. What came from such a seemingly dark time turned into something filled with innovation, hope, and light. It's what we now call Lorenzo's house, and the tagline is "We bring light," and the mission is to shift the narrative from isolation and suffering to connection and joy. Lorenzo's house was established in 2021, and what's incredible is that in a world where 85% of families living with dementia do not receive support, in less than 2 years, Lorenzo's house is supporting over 175 families. These families no longer have to navigate this diagnosis alone. That's 175 families who now have community and people who understand them. Through a holistic model that includes youth initiatives, care partner connections, memory academy, and healing spaces, Lorenzo's house has created multiple places for families to belong and be in community with others who understand. Now we're going to transition into a short trailer called Shifting the Narrative. It's a look inside the Coast family's journey through navigating a young onset diagnosis.
The culture in our home changed. We were completely caught off guard.
We typically think of Alzheimer's disease as a disease of older people. If the symptoms begin before the age of 65, which is uncommon, that's considered younger onset.
I think the biggest thing is just I can't have a conversation with them anymore. Losing that, I think, was really a lot.
Our tagline at Lorenzo's house is "We bring light."
We need to raise awareness about young onset Alzheimer's.
What Lorenzo's house is doing is really incredible.
Now life has me on this new path. It's time to build. It's time to fight back. And maybe we can turn all of this sorrow and this story into something that heals.
All right, well, now it's time to talk about what has brought us together this evening. It is our young professionals. Dementia doesn't just touch the lives of people, it impacts thousands of individuals in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. The Young Professionals Board was created to help magnify the Lorenzo's House mission of bringing light to younger onset dementia using the talents and voices of people working in various professional industries. We believe that help show up in our communities. Hope our cause will be shared in new and creative ways through our board members. By having a board with young professionals spread across the nation and even the world, we are able to expand beyond the greater Chicago area and our presence, staying in-person events in various cities. Just so you get a sense where board members are currently located, we have a little map created for us this evening. So it highlights that we're spread mostly across the US, and we do have one member in Brazil. All right, I'm gonna do a quick shout out to our board members and give them a spotlight. On the name, if you wouldn't mind just saying your name and where you're tuning in from. So first on my list is Alicia.
Hey guys, my name is Alicia and I'm tuning in from Los Angeles, California.
Yes, and Audra is up next. Audra, give us a shout
Hey
out.
everybody. Hey everybody, my name is Audra. I'm tuning in from Baltimore, Maryland.
She's getting some love. All right. You're next on my list.
Hi, I'm Utseen, and I'm tuning in from Durham, North Carolina.
All right. Everyone's getting some love. All right, Brian, where are you tuning in from?
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm tuning in from New York City.
Girls home. Give a cheer for that one. Casey.
Hi, everybody. I'm Casey. I'm tuning in from Downers Grove, which is a suburb of Chicago.
And Downers Grove.
All right, Constance.
Hello, everyone. I'm Constance Brasher. I am tuning in from Skokie, Illinois, a north suburb of the Chicagoland area.
Skokie.
All right, Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Brasher, Constance's older sister, and I am tuning in from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Yeah.
All right, love that. Erica.
We're going to try and coordinate, but I don't think we can say this at the same time. Hi, I'm Erica.
And I'm Giovanna.
And we are coming at you from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And there's two other people
Hey,
in
I'm
the room.
Andrew.
And
Wait, going to the
Amanda.
back.
I don't know.
I exist. Amanda. Hi.
From LA.
I love it. All right, Eric.
Hey guys, I'm Eric, and I am tuning in from Chicago.
Chi-town.
And Patty.
I'm Patty, and I am tuning in from south of Seattle in Auburn.
All right, and Lewis.
Hi everyone, I'm Lewis and I'm tuning in from Brazil.
All right, we got some international presence. And then our board member is All, and he was unable to join us tonight, but he is from Chicago. So moving on, our board has been the inspiration for why we plan to roll out chapters. You'll hear more about that in a bit, but first you get to hear from our board member, Alicia, who is a filmmaker and comedian based in Los Angeles. Think about the importance of our organization and how we make an impact in the lives of families. This is one study. Alicia, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is actually an incredible turnout, and it really means a lot that every single person here tonight has shown up for this cause. A bit about me. I was born in South Korea, raised in Oklahoma after I was adopted by this angel of a woman named Donna Stickney. We were best friends. It was tough looking like me in Oklahoma, if someone can imagine. And she was basically just my best friend. And until she started acting out of character, and it felt like I was losing somebody, and we didn't know what was happening. I actually looked in like my 6th grade diary or something and said, I don't know who my mom is anymore. And it wasn't for another few years that we found out that she had early onset Alzheimer's. I didn't know what that meant. All I knew that, she was going to slowly lose her mind. She would forget who I was. And then eventually she would pass away. And, at this point, I think I was like in 8th grade. I think I was like 13 or 14 years old. And even prior to that, before her diagnosis, the change was so drastic that, I was basically a suicidal kid at 6th grade, 7th grade. Part of that is because there was no support for somebody like me or my younger brother or my dad. We did try to go to some support groups, but early onset was something that there's not really awareness of. So we just kept getting directed to support groups for people who were like 6 years old, whose parents were 80 or 90. and it never felt like we belonged. Nothing was really catered to the specific needs of like a child or a parent who was in their 40s or 50s. The only other people that I could really relate to were some friends who had parents who were sick, but it wasn't really the same. It was pretty much apples and oranges. I mean, you know, maybe their parents were losing their hair from chemo, but my mom was, you know, losing her mind and getting lost in the house. And learning how to be a caregiver at that young age to really, it took a toll on me. And again, I had nowhere to go. So I, you know, kind of took the dark route and started doing drugs, got into alcohol. I just coped in all the wrong ways. I didn't have a community like Lorenzo's House offers to what we call tweens, teens, and young adults. And it was really tough. I ended up dropping out of school and going to rehab and then getting back into school and getting arrested and dropping out again and going to rehab again. It was just this whole long process of basically just being alone and not having anywhere to go. But you know, it's been about 8 years since my mom passed. I'm happy to report that I have kind of gotten my shit together, so that's a good thing. But through that, I found Lorenzo's House, and Lorenzo's House is where I found empathy rather than sympathy. I found a community rather than just a support group. And I found a family rather than just a medical team. They offer, it's honestly, it's just, I met Diana over a Zoom call in May. And this woman has so much love to give. I'm still in awe that she went through what my dad pretty much went through and was able to create a healing space. And I was fortunate enough to take part in the Youth Summit this year. And I see the impact that it's brought. I mean, Becca has already mentioned that, you know, we've reached so many families. I think, did you say over 100 families?
175.
175 families? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, in less than 2 years.
Exactly. And I know what it's like to be one of those families and not have anywhere to go. Like, I want to point out that this organization is like the only of its type. There are other organizations out there that help, you know, generally with Alzheimer's, or, you know, they help with research, but there's nothing that supports families like mine, except for Lorenzo's House. The awareness is really not there. Actually, I just met this wonderful woman who's a journalist for the New York Times. She's like 55 years old. And her mother sadly has Alzheimer's. With 55 years of life experience, this woman told me this is the toughest experience of her entire life. And I just can't believe that, I mean, I was one of them, but there are 10-year-olds who are facing what she is facing right now. Lorenzo's House offers like group support, like therapy sessions that I've sat in, even with my mom passing nearly a decade ago. It was therapeutic for me. I see Rahul on the screen here. He leads it, and it's amazing. It is holistic. And then not only that, but to know that you're not alone. I would say that one of the biggest struggles for me was that I was alone. I was constantly trying to find somebody, just one person who understood what I was going through. I didn't want to really ruin the vibe when I'm hanging out with my friends. My friends were a great support for me, but it wasn't the same because caregiving was a lot, especially at the age that I was. It was making sure that my mom didn't get lost in her house. It was feeding her. It was bathing her. It wasn't just taking her to the bathroom. In the end, it was changing her diapers. It was watching her physically wilt away. It was watching her completely forget who I was. It was, there's a lot of trauma therapy out there that tell you, you need to think about that one traumatic moment. But for families affected by younger onset, it's not one traumatic moment. It's just constant bombardment of one after another. And we need that support from a community that one understands and can empathize, but that also does it in a light-bringing way. That was part of my journey, is that I kind of hopped into a troubled kids group because they understood me, because we were going through hell together, but in different ways. But we coped doing drugs. We coped, partying and just trying to take our mind off of what was happening in our families. But at Lorenzo's house, it's a safe space for us to open up and be real and talk about what's happening and to face it head on, but be able to process it in a healthy way, where again, we bring light. That is just one of the most amazing mission statements that I can, ever come up with at this point in my life. It brings me a lot of peace also knowing that I also have a place to give back. Before I try to find places, but it's hard, to really find that community because there's not a lot of us right now, and to be able to connect and give back. And it's been a wonderful opportunity to join forces with Diana's family. She just welcomed me in with open arms, showed me all the love in the world that I didn't even ask for. And, there's a lot of nonprofits out there that might seem like they have good intentions, but I flew to Chicago. I met this woman and her family and, Becca here and Bree, and gave everyone a hug. And, I really vouch for this organization. And I hope that we can make a lot of change. So thank you guys for your time, and I'll give it back to you, Becca.
Oh, Alicia, thank you so much for courageously sharing your story. That was just so beautiful, so authentic, and so real. And meeting you this past June, she's just as incredible in person as she is over Zoom, everyone. So thank you. We're so grateful to have you on the board, Alicia. Okay, next up on our agenda is something I'm personally excited that we are rolling out. Beginning in 2023, we're introducing chapters across the nation to further magnify our mission. Similar to the Young Professionals Board, our chapters will empower families living with younger onset dementia by providing education, advocacy, and outreach to their local communities. By representing the organization's mission, these chapters will spread awareness and raise funds, all while cultivating a strong and meaningful presence in the community. So what does a chapter look like, you might ask? It's relatively simple, which may be for anyone with a genuine care for advancing our mission to start one. The 5 basic criteria include, number 1, all you need is 2 or more people to start a chapter. Number 2, embody the values and culture of Lorenzo's house with a commitment to share mission. Number 3, obtaining approval from the Lorenzo's House Board of Directors. So that's not our Young Professional Board. We do have an official board of directors. Number 4, agree to meet at least 4 times annually, ideally in person, for chapter meetings. And finally, to help plan and host just one annual event, a fundraising event in your respective city. So sounds pretty simple, right? The awesome part about the chapters is that they will all be assigned a liaison from our Young Professionals Board. So that was all those people you went through and saw tonight or saw in that picture. There's 14 of us. One of us will be assigned as a liaison to your chapter to keep you up to date and all things Lorenzo House. So you can head over to our website, lorenzoshouse.org/professionals, and click on the box that says Start a Young Professionals Chapter. I think Bree's going to pop it in the chat to get more information and to apply. Currently, chapter applications are open to anyone ages 18 or older. So if you're interested and have questions before you apply, you can contact me directly at becca@lorenzoshouse.org. And Bree, if you wouldn't mind popping that in the chat too. I'd love to schedule time for us to brainstorm and discuss. So we'll leave some time after, and feel free to post it in the chat if you do have any questions. But next up is the incredible Audra, coming live from Maryland. You may have heard her Tuesday Instagram Live. She has quite the beautiful story and her journey in becoming her mother's care partner. And she's going to share her story and what a day in the life of a caregiver looks like. So Audra, you have the floor.
Thanks, Becca. Chapters are a great way to grow the reach of Lorenzo's House and touch so many families throughout the United States. First off, I'd like to thank Lorenzo's House for giving me this opportunity to share my story and spread awareness about young onset dementia. My family has been in the journey since 2018, and my story is just one of many. My mom, Shara, was a realtor, an entrepreneur, a weather expert, a beachgoer, and an animal lover. She never cared what the norm was. She was always going to do whatever she wanted to do. She's still all of those things, but Alzheimer's has taken a lot of my mom away from me. I knew something was off in 2016 when my mom's personality began to change. Instead of being her bubbly social self, she became very passive and didn't want to do anything or go anywhere without my stepdad. She had trouble remembering stories I would tell her, and she stopped calling me every day. At the time, I was living in Florida and working as a golf professional, so those calls with my mom meant the world to me. My first realization that something was really wrong was in August 2017. My mom came down to Florida to help me get settled into a new place. Instead of her helping me, I ended up taking care of her and making her feel comfortable the entire weekend. After 2 years of searching for answers and being diagnosed with anxiety and depression, we finally got the official diagnosis of young onset Alzheimer's disease. I had no idea that Alzheimer's could happen to somebody in their 50s. Our world turned upside down, and I couldn't even fathom what the next years of my life would look like. I eventually decided to move back to Baltimore to be closer to my mom and help care for her. After all, I didn't want to miss any moment I could have with her. I felt a sense of relief once I got home. I had a great job at a great golf course, a great support system, but most importantly, I had my mom. I soon came to realize it was going to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be to manage my life in the golf industry and have ample time with my mom. After a year of back and forth, I decided to make a career change, and I moved into a 9-to-5 job with holidays off. Again, the relief set in, and I would have more time with mom. Then COVID hit, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to see my mom at all. But I've been very fortunate to be working remote, and I have the opportunity to go up and care for my mom throughout the week. Throughout the first few years of my mom's diagnosis, I had trouble talking about what was going on and how hard it actually was. Don't get me wrong, I had an amazing support system, but I just felt like no one truly understood what it was like to watch my mom, my best friend, slowly lose every little piece of her. And in the end, knowing that one day she will not know who I am. I was lucky enough to find a local nonprofit in the Maryland area called YES, Young Onset Dementia Education and Support. After years of feeling like I was alone, I was finally able to connect with others who were my age, experiencing the same things with their parent. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't the only one out there. I began to help YES grow their social media presence and create awareness for young onset dementias. I started to learn all about the different types of dementias and how there were others out there fighting the same battle behind closed doors. In January 2022, I decided to go out on a limb and post a TikTok about my mom and her progression through the disease. The video got over 100,000 views, and people from all over the world were commenting about their connection to young onset and their love, and sending their love. Since then, my mom and I have been sharing our story to over 20,000 followers. Our TikTok touches on all of the emotions we faced through this journey. And if you're on TikTok, you can follow me at oddpod06. So here we are 4.5 years into my mom's diagnosis. I tried to get up to my mom's once or twice a week to relieve my stepdad of his daily caregiving duties. Without him, who knows where we would be. He is truly the superhero of the family that faces this disease every single day. These days, it's been getting harder to juggle work and caring for my mom. As her disease has progressed, she now needs 100% help getting dressed, eating, using the bathroom, and needs to have eyes on her at all times because she's losing her balance. She knows who I am, but she doesn't call me by my name. Her emotions are very high or very low. For the most part, she's happy when I'm around, but it's a lot of work to maintain that happiness. She speaks in jumbled sentences and can't really tell us what she needs. Everything is called water. Her dog Cookie is her pride and joy, and each day we lose a little more of her. It's hard to remember what life was like before my mom was diagnosed. In a sense, her disease has taken over my life and my thoughts. I never knew there was something called anticipatory grief, basically grieving somebody while they're still alive. I've battled this grief since the day my mom was diagnosed. I look back on that day and think about how much left of her I still had and what I would give to go back to that time. Her kids are getting older and experiencing big life events. Just last week, my sister got engaged. It was an amazing day and she understood exactly what was happening, but you can't help to notice the black cloud in your head wondering if mom's going to make it to the wedding or will she ever be there for my big life events. That's the battle that caregivers face every day and needs to be talked about more. Here's the thing that most don't understand about caregiving for your parent. I no longer get to go visit my mom. Instead, I go take care of my mom. I spend the day juggling work and making sure she's okay and comfortable. I no longer have full conversations with my mom. Instead, we may be able to get one thought out and then the conversation is gone. Holidays and family dinners have changed. What once was a relaxing, cheerful time is now a stressor for my mom. Though that might seem grim, I'm so grateful for the time I got to spend with my mom. No matter how stressful it gets, I'm lucky to have been able to learn a whole new side of my mom that I never would have had the opportunity to without Alzheimer's. I will always be super grateful for my stepdad, Scott, who is our full-time caregiver. We could not do this without him. If I were to give advice to anyone facing this disease, I would say, number 1, take more pictures. Number 2, live life in the moment the best you can. Number 3, don't fret on the small things. 4, know that your loved one will love you even if they don't recognize you. And 5, reach out for help if you need it. I hate that my mom has Alzheimer's, but it's made me grow and to appreciate life a way that I never thought that I would. Always try to remember that you're not alone through this fight. I personally decided to join Lorenzo's House Young Professionals Board because their mission aligns with what I'm fighting for. We need more caregiver support for those families fighting a younger onset diagnosis. There are thousands of families fighting this battle alone behind closed doors. We were that family once. Meeting others and sharing my story has helped me push through this journey and find the light in my mom's Alzheimer's disease. Thank you again, Lorenzo's House, for giving me the opportunity to share my story and spread awareness. We bring light. Becca, back to you.
Well, thank you, Audra. We are so lucky to have you, and your mother is so lucky to have you too. Yeah, thanks for sharing your story. It really means a lot to us. So as our evening comes to a close, I want to thank you all once more for joining us tonight. We need you all beside us as we continue this critical work for families with seemingly no place to turn. If you are feeling compelled to support Lorenzo's House, the easiest way is to donate directly to our mission at the link in the chat below. We wouldn't be where we are today without the generous contributions from people like you all. And no dollar amount is too small. I want to repeat that again. No dollar amount is too small. We're grateful for any contribution you can make. If you will take a financial contribution time, but like to support our mission, you could follow us on social media and tell anyone you know who could benefit from Lorenzo's House about us. You can actually do this tonight by taking a picture of your party and using the hashtags Lorenzo's YoPros and We Bring Light. And finally, another excellent way to support is to create a chapter in the city. These chapters will help us expand our mission and reach more people with advocacy and outreach. So this ends our formal presentation. Thank you all for bringing your light this evening and helping us turn isolation into connection, stigma into understanding, and darkness into light. As a leading younger onset organization worldwide, we are making a difference and we want you to come along with us. So thank you all. I want to see everyone's faces one more time before we close out the night. You guys are incredible. Yes. That is all we have. If anyone wants to say a quick shout out, quick hello, otherwise this closes out our evening. Oh, look at the parties. So fun.